political unit. Talk in depth with newsmakers from around the nation, the state, and the Bay Area.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Al Rochelle. Joining me right now, Adam Smith, the political editor of the Tampa Bay Times, who will introduce our guest and ask the first question all at once.
Thank you, sir. Lenny Curry, State Republican Party Chairman, thanks for being here.
It was a pleasure to be here.
You look at the polls, and many people see this country heading in the wrong direction. They're anxious about our economy. How in the world is Mitt Romney not blowing out Barack Obama?
The Republicans, we have to make the case, and we have to. It's got to be a very simple message. To me, it's indisputable that President Obama has failed. If you stack everything up on top, over 20 million people that don't have a job, $16 trillion in debt, $5 trillion incurred under him, we must continue to remind the electorate that this is the record of Barack Obama, indisputable that he's failed.
But people always want to say the positive side, so what are you going to do? And my question is, if the Romney camp had a great economic plan, which I believe that at one point it was like 56 points, why can't any people recite what that plan is for economic recovery?
Well, here's the case for Mitt Romney. In my private sector life, I'm in the jobs business. We basically hire people, look at resumes every day. A resume and the history that someone has is a pretty good predictor of how they're going to perform. Mitt Romney has a history, a resume of success. Everything that he's touched. You think Sports Authority, you think Staples, you think the Olympics, you look at his family. Mitt Romney has accomplished and gotten the job done under every endeavor that he's pursued.
But how is he going to do it for the country? That's what people want to know. What's he specifically going to do?
It's going to be a more business-friendly environment, regulation that's reasonable, that's not over the top, just an environment that's fertile for people to pursue their dreams.
You have a lot of people that are anxious Republicans that are suggesting that something is missing with the Romney campaign. They maybe need a reset, that he should have spent more time this summer sort of introducing himself as a person. Do you think they need to do some adjusting?
You know, I think in my world, which is much smaller than what the Romney camp's dealing with, look, I get a lot of advice every day about how we could do things differently and how we can do things better. And I have an appreciation for a focus, for a team that believes that they're heading in the right direction and they have a path to get there. Some things probably, but there's so much noise coming in. Focus is key to success, and they're focused.
Okay, the Republicans were basically saying and accusing the president of class warfare because he was always talking about the middle class and the rich. And then they very effectively switched it around, and now they're blaming the Romney administration because of his comment about 47%, that he's the one that's involved in class warfare. Which is it?
What Romney said was factual. About 47% of the people don't pay income tax. That's a factual statement. And about each candidate has about 47% of the vote right now. So the battle is in the middle. That's a fact as well. The other key point, though, is President Obama has a history, when recently the audio of him talking about redistribution, believing in redistribution. He talked about spreading the wealth in the last campaign. He has a history of believing in something, which is redistribution, spreading the wealth, which is completely contrary to the fabric of this country, completely contrary to the values that most of us grew up believing.
Let me play the Marxist here for a second. You know, for the last decades, wealth has been more and more concentrated at the top 1 or 2%. The middle class has been shrinking. Nobody, I think, really wants to take assets away from people. But doesn't this country need some redistribution of wealth given the trends?
We need to give people opportunity to pursue their dreams. I mean, that's, look, it's not about having the bigger house or the bigger car. Our message needs to be, it's about people pursuing whatever it is that makes them jump out of bed in the morning. That's what America's built on. It's not who has the bigger car, who has the bigger house, or the better iPhone, or whatever it is.
Let's talk about ground game. Barack Obama, I think, is going to have a get-out-the-vote operation like Florida has never seen, far surpassing what they did 4 years ago. John McCain didn't have much of an operation last time. What's your sense of the GOTV for the Republicans?
We're blowing out what we did in 08. We have over 1 million voter contacts over the last week, over 5 million, which is exponentially larger than anything the McCain camp did. The same with knocking on doors. We are destroying the efforts in 2008. So the ground game feels good. Our base, Republicans are going to turn out and vote. The message is going to be to undecided voters, soft Democrats.
Now, does that worry you? Because in a lot of polls that we've seen, the number of undecideds is very, very small. Some people say it's because this election has gone on for so long. Others say because there are such a striking contrast between what the Republicans and the Democrats believe that people have already settled in based on what their values are. So if you've only got a 4 or 5% spread in the undecideds, how do you win them over?
Well, my gut tells me that there are people that are saying they made up their mind, and that they're absolutely know who they're voting for, but maybe they can still be swayed. And here's why. Polls give us numbers and statistics. We're talking about people here. We're talking about human beings that have emotions, that their life changes on a daily basis. So I haven't written off people, even some people that say they're voting for Barack Obama if they're an independent. We're still trying to change hearts and minds.
And how excited are you about the prospect of Charlie Crist coming back on the stage? You going to help him run for governor if he runs as a Democrat?
Interesting. He's an opportunist. I think it's a crass political move. Charlie Crist was his right. He has a record of being to the right of Dick Cheney and George W. Bush. So it's interesting times.
Who would be a tougher candidate for Rick Scott to beat, Alex Sink or Charlie Crist?
Well, we take any candidate seriously, whether it's Charlie Crist or Alex Sink or any other Democrat that may get in. We just have to keep the message that Rick Scott campaigned on job creation. His policies have created private sector jobs, and we need to connect the policies to Rick Scott the man. I know Rick Scott. He's a good man. He gets up at the crack of dawn every day. He goes to bed late at night, working to make sure Floridians are back to work, making sure that our kids are educated.
So Barack Obama, has he also had a hand in creating those private sector jobs in Florida?
I think we'd be in much better shape if we had a Republican president in office. It comes back to a different worldview. An opportunity society. I don't believe, based on what I've seen in Barack Obama's history, that he believes in an opportunity society. He wants everybody to be equal. I want people to dream. I want people to chase something.
Lenny Curry, thank you so much for joining us.
Always a
Appreciate you
pleasure.
stopping by.
Thanks, Lenny.
Thank you.